England, the birthplace of football, but always far from a tournament favourite. In this video, we take a look at every European Championship and World Cup between 1966 and 1994, covering all the highs, lows, and true football dramas. After this video, make sure to check out our follow-up covering 1996 to the present, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a thing. World Cup 1966, the greatest moment in English football. The 1966 World Cup wasn't just England's first home tournament, it also remains their one and only major title to this day. Under manager Alf Ramsey, the team entered the competition with a clear goal: win the trophy on home soil. Ramsey ditched traditional wingers and introduced a compact, centrally focused system, later dubbed the Wingless Wonders. After a sluggish 0-0 opener against Uruguay, England beat Mexico 2-0 and France 2-0. The quarterfinals saw them edge past Argentina 1-0 in a fiercely contested match, remembered especially for the controversial sending-off of Argentine captain Antonio Ratin. In the semi-finals, they defeated Portugal and the brilliant Eusebio 2-1. Then came the big final at Wembley, England versus Germany. After 90 minutes, it was 2-2 extra time became legendary. Jeff Hurst made it 3-2 in the 101st minute with his famous "Was it in?" goal that bounced off the crossbar and down onto the line, a moment still debated today. He sealed his hat-trick in the 120th minute with a 4-2. It remains the only hat-trick in a World Cup final. England became world champions on home turf, led by the calm and composed Bobby Moore. This triumph still stands as the pinnacle of English football, a benchmark for every team since. Euro 1968, a promising run with a bitter end. 2 years after the World Cup triumph, England entered the 1968 European Championship in Italy as clear favourites. It was their first ever appearance in a Euros final round. The tournament only featured 4 teams back then. Manager Alf Ramsey stuck with a core of his World Cup winning squad. In the semi-final, England faced a technically gifted Yugoslavia side. Despite high expectations, they lost narrowly 0-1, with Dragan Djurdjic scoring late. The match was marred by aggressive tackles and heated moments. Alan Mullery became the first England player ever to be sent off. England went on to beat the Soviet Union 2-0 in the third-place playoff, but the missed opportunity still stung. World Cup 1970, heat, heroes, and déjà vu. At the 1970 World Cup in Mexico, England entered as defending champions, with high hopes and almost the same squad as in 1966. Alf Ramsey relied on his experienced players, but the altitude and heat in Mexico posed fresh challenges. England beat Romania 1-0 and Czechoslovakia 1-0 in the group stage, but lost 0-1 to Brazil in what's considered one of the most iconic World Cup matches of all time. The standout moment, Gordon Banks' miraculous save against Pele's header, still one of the greatest saves in football history. In the quarter-final, it was a familiar foe, West Germany. England led 2-0 at halftime, but after Banks was sidelined due to illness and Ramsey made questionable substitutions, Germany mounted a comeback. Gerd Müller scored the winner in extra time to make it 3-2. The loss was doubly painful, on the pitch and in the national psyche. England had played well, but fatigue and lapses in focus cost them dearly. The chance to defend the title slipped away. Euro 1972, a warning sign in qualifying. England failed to qualify for Euro 1972, their first real setback after becoming world champions. After a strong group campaign, they faced West Germany in the quarterfinals and lost 1-3 on aggregate. The 1-3 defeat at Wembley was especially deflating. It marked the beginning of England's decline after the dominance of the 1960s. World Cup 1974, England miss out. The 1974 World Cup in West Germany took place without England, a shock for the country that invented the game. Following the high of 1966 and decent showings in 1970, England was seen as a regular on the world stage, but they failed to qualify from their group, finishing behind Poland. The crucial game was a 1-1 draw at Wembley. Polish keeper Jan Tomaszewski mocked pre-match as a clown, delivered a stunning performance and became a national hero. England dominated but couldn't score the winner. Poland advanced, England stayed home. The failure marked the end of England's golden generation and the start of a long phase of uncertainty, system changes, and missed chances. A shadow that would hang over the team for years. Euro 1976, absent once again. England also missed out on the 1976 European Championships. In the qualifiers, they finished second behind a strong Czechoslovakia side. A crucial 1-2 defeat against the Czechs proved decisive. Another tournament without England, and a setback under manager Don Revie. World Cup 1978, still just spectators. England were once again absent from the 1978 World Cup in Argentina. Under manager Ron Greenwood, the team went unbeaten in qualification but still failed to qualify, missing out to group winners Italy on goal difference and head-to-head results. Despite solid performances, it was not enough. Another tournament watched from the sidelines. Euro 1980 return with a little shine. After a 12-year absence from the European Championships, England finally returned to the big stage at Euro 1980 in Italy. With players like Kevin Keegan, Ray Wilkins and Trevor Brooking, expectations under manager Ron Greenwood were high. England were seen as serious contenders. The format featured 2 groups of 4, with only the winner of each group advancing to the final. England's campaign started with a frustrating 1-1 draw against Belgium. Wilkins scored, but it wasn't enough. Then came a narrow 0-1 loss to hosts Italy in a cagey tactical affair where England failed to create real chances. A final 2-1 win over Spain wasn't enough. Belgium topped the group and went through. Beyond the sporting disappointment, the tournament was marred by violence off the pitch. English hooligans caused serious unrest in Turin, leaving England's image in Europe badly damaged. Euro 1980 was underwhelming both on and off the pitch. England crashed out in the group stage, not without hope, but lacking the courage and edge needed. It was a missed opportunity to make a statement after years away from the spotlight. World Cup 1982, unbeaten, but still out. At the 1982 World Cup in Spain, England returned to the world stage for the first time in 12 years. Under manager Ron Greenwood, the team started brightly. 3 group wins, including a sharp 3-1 against France, raised hopes back home. But the new tournament format, with a second group stage, proved their undoing. England drew 0-0 with both host nation Spain and reigning champions West Germany. That wasn't enough to advance. Germany went through on goal difference. Despite being unbeaten with 3 wins and 2 draws, England were out after 5 matches. Frustratingly, they were the only team eliminated at that stage without conceding a single goal. England performed with discipline and control in Spain, but lacked the attacking sharpness when it mattered most. It was a quiet, bitter exit, shaped more by format and frustration than failure. Euro 1984, no room for England. The 1984 European Championship in France took place without England, a bitter blow for Bobby Robson's team just as he was beginning his tenure. The qualifying group had looked manageable, but things took a different turn. Denmark, long considered outsiders, rose to the occasion with bold, creative and high-tempo football. The 1-0 defeat to Denmark at Wembley proved, in hindsight, to be the group's turning point. England certainly had individual quality: Brian Robson, Glenn Hoddle, Ray Wilkins, but the team lacked chemistry, consistency, and a clear tactical identity. When Denmark dazzled with fresh attacking football, England looked heavy-legged and uninspired. Missing out in the finals was more than just a sporting failure. It shook confidence in the much-needed rebuilding process after years of turbulence. Euro 84 could have been a fresh start, but became a missed opportunity for a promising generation. For Robson, it was the first major setback. But he would later show that sometimes the road to success begins with disappointment. World Cup 1986, Maradona, magic and misery. The 1986 World Cup in Mexico became a rollercoaster of hope, resurgence and heartbreak for England. Manager Bobby Robson was under pressure early on. A disappointing 0-1 defeat to Portugal and a lifeless 0-0 against Morocco left England on the brink of an early exit. But in the crucial third group match, England suddenly found their form. A commanding 3-0 win over Poland, featuring a hat-trick from Gary Lineker, turned things around. England were through, and the belief in a late-surging miracle was back. In the round of 16, they faced Paraguay, a must-win, and England delivered. A confident 3-0 victory sent them to the quarterfinals, with Lineker again on the score sheet. Then came the match that entered football folklore and scarred England for decades. The quarterfinal against Argentina, a politically charged encounter just 4 years after the Falklands War. That's when Diego Maradona scored two of the most iconic goals in football history. First, the infamous Hand of God, where he punched the ball past Peter Shilton. Minutes later, he followed up with a goal of the century, a mesmerizing solo run from his own half. England fought back, Lineker pulled one back to make it 1-2, but it wasn't enough. England were eliminated again by Argentina, again with drama. But this time it wasn't just sporting, it was deeply emotional. That match remains one of the most painful yet iconic chapters in England's football story. Euro 1988, 3 games, 0 points. The 1988 European Championship in West Germany was meant to be a fresh start for England. With players like Gary Lineker, Brian Robson and Chris Waddle, expectations were high. But under manager Bobby Robson, the tournament turned into a disaster. In their opening match against Ireland, Ray Houghton scored early for the Irish and England never recovered, losing 0-1. The second game against the Netherlands made things worse. Marco van Basten netted a hat-trick in a 3-1 defeat, exposing England's defensive frailties. In the final group game against the Soviet Union, pride was all that was left to play for. But even that slipped away. England suffered a 0-3 loss, again showing defensive lapses and a lack of creativity going forward. They finished bottom of the group with 0 points and just 1 goal scored. It was a bruising exit. Despite the individual talent, the team looked unprepared, tactically and mentally. Euro 88 remains one of England's weakest tournament performances. World Cup 1990, agony on the road to greatness. The 1990 World Cup in Italy became England's most emotional campaign since their 1966 triumph. Bobby Robson, heavily criticised beforehand, led a tight-knit squad filled with passion and quality, featuring stars like Gary Lineker, Paul Gascoigne and Stuart Pearce. After a shaky start, 1-1 versus Ireland, 0-0 versus the Netherlands, a 1-0 win over Egypt saw England top the group. In the round of 16, they edged past Belgium 1-0 in extra time, and in the quarterfinals they battled back to beat Cameroon 3-2 after trailing. The semi-final against West Germany became legendary. After a 1-1 draw in normal time, the match went to penalties. Pearce and Waddle missed, and England were out. Gascoigne's tears after receiving a yellow card that would have ruled him out of the final became the emotional symbol of a heartbroken but proud team. England lost 2-1 to Italy in the third place playoff, finishing 4th. It wasn't a trophy, but it felt like redemption. England had a team the country could finally believe in again. The pain of the loss bonded the fans to the squad more deeply than ever before. Euro 1992, directionless in the north. The 1992 European Championship in Sweden was supposed to be a continuation of the passion and promise from Italia 90. Instead, it became a flat and uninspired campaign under manager Graham Taylor. A goalless draw against Denmark started things quietly. The second match against France was another 0-0, defensively solid but lacking attacking imagination. Then came the decisive game against hosts Sweden. David Platt gave England an early lead, but the team lost control of the match. Thomas Brolin's 82nd minute goal sealed the win 2-1 for Sweden, and England were out, again bottom of their group. Taylor's decision to substitute Gary Lineker in his final international game when England desperately needed a goal drew heavy criticism. Euro 92 marked a step backwards, toothless in attack, tactically hesitant, and missing the spirit of early years. The group stage exit shattered public faith in Taylor and remains one of England's most forgettable tournament campaigns. World Cup 1994, no Lions in America. The 1994 World Cup in the United States went ahead without England, a bitter blow for a proud football nation. Under Graham Taylor, the team failed to qualify, losing out to Norway and the Netherlands, despite a squad boasting names like Shearer, Ince and Gascoigne. Most painful was the 0-2 defeat to the Dutch, made worse by a controversial red card for David Platt. Once again, England were watching from home, and Taylor's reign was over. The 1994 World Cup became a symbol of lost momentum and another missed chance. Rebuild properly. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and check out our other video covering England's tournament journey from 1996 to 2024.